Hello everyone, warm welcome to Regulatory Bodies YouTube channel by Testbook. My name is Madhav Sir. I welcome you all in a very important session where we are going to discuss the finance current affairs. I'm pretty sure that I'm audible, visible, everything is fine, we are good to go. Just let me know in the comment section if we are good to go so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up in the comment section so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. And today again, as always, we will be discussing many important news related to your finance segment, not only from the general finance, but also the RBI specific news will also be discussed. So I hope we are good to go. So before we start the discussion, I hope you have gone through with the video which I have shared with you yesterday at 7 p.m. And in that particular video, I have shared my details pretty clearly that very soon I will be starting Okay, so now I hope it is audible. I was just changing the network. Yes, now it's fine. So as I said in the previous video that was, I would say, presented to you yesterday, in that particular video, I have made this point very clear to everyone that I'm coming up with a new series where we will be discussing the RBI circulars in much detail. So if you want to clear your upcoming examination, not only the RBI exam or only the regulatory body exams, but even if the banking examination, you must know that these circulars, they are going to be really very important and many more questions are going to be asked and you should answer all these questions accurately, especially related to the finance current affairs, especially related to the RBI circulars. So here we go. Let's get started with the discussion. But before I start, guys, there is a important information to share with you all. And the important information is if you want to download the PDF of this particular session, the PDF of this particular session will be available. PDF of this particular session will be available on my Telegram channel. And this is the link of the Telegram channel with the help of which you can download the PDF for sure. Okay? Chalo. So the first news of the evening is really very important, and in this particular news, I'll start my discussion in such a manner. The news says a new country has joined a group and the name of that group is Eurozone. How many of you have heard about this particular term, that is Eurozone? I'm not getting your point. What do you want to say? Fact to fact? I don't know. What do you want to say? In my finance current affairs session, I will be covering all the important news related to the financial world. I am already covering the important news from the financial world as well as I'm covering the important RBI circulars as well, RBI master directions as well. So if you want to cover all the news related to finance, then this is the one-stop solution. No more discussion. Let's focus on the news itself. So the news says that there is a new country which has become the member of Eurozone. The moment I hear this term Eurozone, the first thing which comes in my mind is it is basically a group of nations which follow the same currency, which allows the same currency as a legal tender into their domestic boundaries. So all the countries which are using the same currency is known as, or they are collectively termed as Eurozone because they use a similar currency, that is Euro. Now the question is, so what is the benefit if a country is, or the group of countries, they are using the same currency? The benefit is there is no problem of inter-country transactions. That means if you are doing import, export, or you are transferring funds from one nation to another, and if the currency is same, it's a kind of situation where you are transferring funds from Punjab to Haryana, from Haryana to Maharashtra, from Maharashtra to Tamil Nadu, because between these states, it's an interstate fund transfer, but the currency which is being used in all these states is common. So in order to ease out the process of inter-country transactions, in order to ease out the import and exports of the nation, in order to increase the coordination among the neighboring countries, this initiative was taken, and in the past Eurozone was introduced. The moment I hear about Eurozone, then there is one more point which strikes my mind is that is European Union. So don't worry, I will be discussing about European Union as well, but the European Union nations which follow the same currency, not all, but some of the European Union nations which follow the same currency, that is euro, we call those countries collectively as what? So we call them as collectively Eurozone. Along with this European Union, then we have Eurozone, then we have one more term which I will be discussing with you. So with the help of this discussion, everything will be clear. So before I move ahead, I'll discuss the news of the day. So European Union has officially approved Bulgaria to adopt euro as its new currency. So Bulgaria will become the 21st country. It will become the 21st country to join the Eurozone, and it will be replacing its current domestic currency with the common currency, that is euro, from 1st of January 2026. From 1st of January 2026. The second point which is important in this discussion is, so whenever we talk about Eurozone, some points which we need to remember is this approval which has been given, or how the coordination is going to be done, everything will be discussed in this particular session. So please pay attention. The European Union, the European Parliament confirmed that Bulgaria met all the requirements to join the Eurozone. That means there are certain requirements which ought to be fulfilled, and once the nations they fulfill that criteria, then only they will be allowed to use a common currency, that is euro. अब एक बात सोच के देखो, if I take this as an example with respect to India, in India we have different states. In India we have different states, and in different states the currency is still the same. We are using a similar currency. If we are using the similar currency, then it's quite obvious there should be a single monetary authority. There should be a single monetary authority which is going to manage the flow of funds, in all these countries. So that is also true. That means the Eurozone is a group of nations which use the same currency as their official currencies, and they have a single authority which manages the day-to-day monetary aspects of the nation. So the European Parliament has confirmed Bulgaria has met all the requirements to join the Eurozone, and the official conversion rate, it is just for your reference, the official conversion rate has been set. 1 euro is equal to 1.95583 Bulgarian currency. So that is not important, it's just for your reference. The next point which is important, from where I would like to start my discussion, is what is Eurozone? If someone asks me what is Eurozone, then my answer would be, so Eurozone is also known as Euro area. It is a group of European countries that have adopted euro as their official currency, and they operate under a common monetary policy which is set by European Central Bank. The way we have one central bank, that is RBI, which is managing our currency, which is in flow all around the country, because I say that the same currency is being utilized in all the states of the country, we need a single authority to manage it. अब ऐसा तो हो नहीं सकता पंजाब के लिए करेंसी कोई और प्रिंट कर रहा है और हरियाणा के लिए कोई और प्रिंट कर रहा है, और हम चाहते हैं कि पूरी नेशंस में क्या हो, स्टेबिलिटी हो, हम चाहते हैं कि सारी स्टेट्स में स्टेबिलिटी हो, प्राइस स्टेबिलिटी हो, फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी हो. इज इट पॉसिबल? नो, it's not possible. So if you want that different countries, they are using the same currency, it is possible to manage the monetary and financial stability only and only if we have a singular authority which will be responsible for managing the monetary policy, and that is European Central Bank. Even I would say the printing of the currency is done under the European Central Bank, but the printing presses are set up in different currencies in order to avoid the transportation cost, in order to avoid risk issues in terms of transportation, in terms of printing, in terms of circulation. So if I use this word Eurozone, the word Eurozone was not there, but a common currency area was created back in 1999, where they said that we will be transferring the funds through electronic platforms only, but that was not possible at that particular moment. So over the period of time, after 3 years, euro coins and notes were introduced. So if you say euro was introduced back in 1999, but at that particular moment its physical presence was not there, but since 2002 its physical presence has been introduced and it was adopted collectively by 12 countries in one go. Currently, euro is the second most widely used currency after US dollar. So euro is the currently second most widely used currency after US dollar. This you need to remember. Now, what will be the purpose? What was the objective behind setting the Eurozone? So it is basically to promote economic stability as well as growth. It is basically to eliminate currency exchange rate risk among the member countries. So what does it say? It says, sir, jitni neighboring countries, obviously they are into immense trade. और अगर आपने हिस्ट्री पढ़ी हो, यूरोप की हिस्ट्री पढ़ी हो, so it's not today. Europe from day one, they have worked very closely hand in hand in terms of fulfilling their demands in order to fulfill their requirements, and these countries, they have stood together in order to fulfill the demands. In general, I'm talking about. So in that particular case, if trade is going on and this is an immense quantity of trade, volume of trade which is happening on regular basis, do you think if these currencies are different, then there is a risk of foreign currency exchange rate at every moment? It's better, let's combine all the nations into one, not politically, but at least economically in terms of common currency use, and those countries are known as Eurozone nations. So it will eliminate undoubtedly the currency exchange risk among the member countries. Third point is, in order to make trade, travel and investment, all the trade, travel, investment will become easier as well as cheaper across the Europe, and it will establish monetary unity under the European Central Bank. So obviously it will establish a monetary unity among the European Central Bank. If I talk about the total members in Eurozone right now, we have 20 members. The latest member was, if I'm not wrong, so the latest member was Croatia. And Croatia became the member of Eurozone in 2023, and now proposal has been finalized that Bulgaria will become the 21st member from 1st of January 2026. तो सारे approvals आ चुके हैं, but जैसे ही the nation will start utilizing or start using euro as its currency for circulation, currency as a legal trade, or euro as a legal tender, from that particular day it will be termed as officially a part of Eurozone. The next point which I have for you all is, that is governance. As I said, Eurozone governance is into the hands of a single central bank, and the name is European Central Bank, which manages the monetary policy the way RBI manages in India. It controls the inflation. For India, the control inflation range is 4% plus minus 2%. That means in India, we follow a flexible inflation rate targets, where if the inflation rates of the country is within a control range, we call it as control inflation, if the CPI combined is in a range of 2 to 6%. But in developed countries, where the scope of managing or scope of countering the change in inflation rate or increase in inflation rate is pretty low, change in inflation rate or increase in inflation rate is pretty low, so they target a pretty lower inflation rate. So here the target is 2%. Now आप सोच रहे होंगे ऐसा क्यों? European nations, they are developed countries and India is developing. Since India is capable to handle higher value or the higher percentage of inflation rates, what is the reason? Guys, the reason behind this particular question is, I'm pretty sure none of you have ever got this answer, that why inflation rate or control inflation range for India is pretty high in comparison to that of the developed countries like US or European nations. If you want, I can discuss this point quickly. Just give me 1 minute. I won't take much time of yours. Whenever we talk about control inflation, what it basically means, I take it in this manner. If money supply increases, it will result in increase in demand. And if demand increases, supply cannot increase right away. It will take some time, and this will result in increase in inflation. Due to increase in demand, there will be increase in pressure on the production houses. So the production houses, they will increase their production, this will result in increase in GDP. This increase in production will result in increase in income. अब ध्यान से सुनना, इस पॉइंट को बड़े ध्यान से सुनना. It's pretty easy to understand. I would say कंट्रोल इन्फ्लेशन रेट का मतलब है कि अगर मान लो आपका इन्फ्लेशन रेट है 10% एंड ड्यू टू दिस इन्फ्लेशन रेट ऑल ओवर on an average, the income of the country has increased by 10% or more than 10%, I would say it is controlled. Why I'm saying it is controlled? मान लो an item which is of 100 rupees, it has increased to 110. Your salary was 10,000 and it has increased to 11,000. Now it won't hurt you while purchasing a product for 110 because your salary has also increased by the same percentage, and whenever the average increase in price of goods and services is in same ratio in which income of the country increases, that is particularly known as controlled inflation. अब यहां पे एक पॉइंट है. पॉइंट क्या कि सर ये इनकम क्यों बढ़ी? इनकम इंक्रीज बिकॉज ऑफ इंक्रीज इन प्रोडक्शन. Why production increased? So production increased because of availability of resources. We all know that resources available are limited, and if there are resources जिसकी वजह से we are in a position to increase the production by 10%, which will result in increase in income by 10%. So all this game depends on what? Sir, it depends on resources, or all this game depends on GDP growth estimates. तो अगर हमसे कोई कहे कि इंडिया का GDP growth estimate है 10%, इसका मतलब क्या कि सर इंडियन इकोनॉमी कैन ग्रो इन द नेक्स्ट ईयर बाय 10%. सर इट इज पॉसिबल बिकॉज इंडिया हैज रिसोर्सेस सो दैट इंडिया कैन इंक्रीज इट्स जीडीपी बाय 10% इन कंपैरिजन टू द प्रीवियस ईयर. अगर हमारे पास रिसोर्सेज ही ना होती, वुड इट हैव बीन पॉसिबल टू इंक्रीज द जीडीपी बाय 10%? नो. तो जिस कंट्री में, वॉट एवर कंट्री यू फोकस ऑन, द कंट्री विद हाई जीडीपी ग्रोथ एस्टिमेट्स means the country has a capability to increase its production, and the country which has a capability to increase its production by good percentage, that will be a country which results in increase in overall income of the country on year basis by a good percent, and that good percentage will be applicable to counter the inflation of US is already on the peak in terms of GDP. अब यहां से अगर US की GDP is increasing 1%, it is very high in terms of actual value. In terms of actual value, 1% is pretty high. जहां हम कहते हैं कि India's GDP will be increasing by 6%. दिखने में वो 6% है, but the actual value is pretty low because the base is low. But in case of US, base is very high, और उससे अगर 1% भी increase हो रहा है, that is a huge increase in terms of utilization of resources. So, if in US GDP can increase by 1%, that means income can increase by 1%, and if income can increase by 1%, country can counter inflation up to 1% only. But on the other side, the nation where the GDP can increase by 10%, income can increase by 10%, they can counter the inflation close to 10%, and that is the reason for the developing economies control inflation range is high. That is the reason for the developing economies control inflation range is high because of the high GDP growth estimates, because of the high capacity to increase their GDP on year basis in comparison to the developed nation, where in case of developed nation they are already sitting on the peak, because in developed nation case the GDP is already on its peak. Is this point clear? मजा आया? अगली बार कोई कहे कंट्रोल इन्फ्लेशन क्या है, इंडिया का 4% क्यों है, यूरोप में ये 2% क्यों है, या फिर यूएस में ये 1% के आसपास क्यों है, आई एम प्रीटी श्योर नाउ इट विल बी क्लियर टू यू. Coming back to the point. Now the point says control inflation, set interest rate, as well as maintain the financial stability. All these services are done by a European Central Bank. So Eurogroup, finance ministers of Eurozone countries, they play an important role in the decision making process. What is the benefit? Single currency, price transparency, greater investment, lower transaction cost, and it will increase undoubtedly the economic coordination between the nations. It will increase the economic coordination between the nations. अच्छा, यहाँ पे एक और point I would like to add. what I'm trying to say is, guys, India is following this flexible inflation target framework. I don't know how many of you are aware of this. Inflation target framework का मतलब flexible inflation target framework का मतलब है, India में we don't say that India's inflation rate should be 4%. No. If we are focusing on just one rate, then we call it as inflation target. But when we have a range, as in India, we have a range of 4% plus minus 2%, which says that Indian inflation rate, if it is in a range of 2 to 6%, we call it as a control inflation. Best rate would be 4, but if it is in a range, we would say that yes, India is doing well, nothing to worry, but try to keep it as close as you can to 4%. अब यहाँ पे एक point है, this framework was initiated in 2016 on the recommendation of Urjit Patel committee, and as per the recommendation, it was given that the framework will process, or the framework will present the flexible target. The framework will present the flexible target for 5 years. So the first target was presented from 2016 to 2021. Remember that this target is always and always presented by government as decided already, and it was decided to be 4% plus minus 2%. ठीक है जी. Then again in 2021-26 it was revised, or there was a call of revision. RBI is always the concerning authority, so I would say by government in discussion, we can say in discussion with RBI. So RBI just act as a advisory body, final decision is taken by the government. So वहां पे भी कहा गया कि सर चेंज करने की जरूरत नहीं है, it should be same. Now the next is from 2026 to 2031. Again we are looking forward for the range, and RBI's internal committee, ये न्यूज में था पॉइंट, याद रखना, RBI की जो इंटरनल कमेटी सेटअप हुई है, उस इंटरनल कमेटी ने सजेस्ट किया कि we should recommend the government that government should come up with the same range for the next 5 years, but it is not yet final. This internal committee decision will be discussed with the finance ministry, and final recommendation by RBI will be given in September 2025, और उस recommendation के basis पर we will get the range or the control range for 2026 to 2031. और यहाँ पे एक और point recently add किया गया, which I would like to add over here. What is the next point which has been added? So the next point which has been added is, there was a news going on that rather than targeting the control inflation rate for CPI combined, it should be changed to core inflation. It should be changed to core inflation. Core inflation means ignore food inflation as well as exclude fuel inflation. सो इन दोनों पे डिस्कशन हो रही थी, फिर बाद में बात आई कि नहीं फ्यूल को तो इग्नोर कर नहीं सकते, फिर बाद में बात आई नहीं फूड को भी नहीं इग्नोर कर सकते, तो फाइनली ये डिसीजन लिया गया दैट द टारगेट विल नॉट बी गिवन फॉर कोर इन्फ्लेशन. अगेन द हेडलाइन इन्फ्लेशन, द टारगेटेड इन्फ्लेशन विल रिमेन द सेम, दैट इज सीपीआई कंबाइंड. ठीक है जी. आई होप दिस इंफॉर्मेशन इज क्लियर टू यू. सो दिस वाज इन न्यूज रिसेंटली, मुझे लगा कि इसके लिए एक सेपरेट न्यूज बनानी चाहिए, सो आई जस्ट इंक्लूडेड दिस डिस्कशन in very same discussion itself, or in this discussion only. चलो, moving on to the next point. अगला point क्या कहता है? The next point we have is, if a nation wants to join the Eurozone, if a nation wants to join Eurozone, what are the conditions the nation has to fulfill to join it? So the conditions are, criteria to join Eurozone include what? Criteria to join Eurozone includes what? Then I would say the first one, any European country wishing to join Euro or Eurozone must first have low inflation rate, that is close to best performing countries, that is around 2%, sustainable public finance which has deficit less than 3% of the GDP, debt to GDP ratio should be less than 60%. Third point is stable exchange rate for 2 years, and last is long term interest rate should be low. So if these conditions are fulfilled, which were fulfilled by Bulgaria, finally Bulgaria was given the permission that it should perform as what? So it should perform as what? it should perform or it should be included as a nation under Eurozone. Done, guys? Chalo. Before I move ahead, let me see if I have any doubt to answer. ठीक है, done. Amrut, due to some personal reasons, due to some medical emergency at Manish Sir's place, he is not able to take session. He was not able to take yesterday's session. So no worries, he will be completing, he will be covering all the left out days in his upcoming sessions itself, as he always does. So don't worry, you know me, you know him more than me, you are connected with him from past few years, and you know this very well, that whatever day is not, or any day for which he has not conducted the session, uski news अगले दिन में या आने वाले दिनों में for sure complete हो जाएगी. So don't worry. There was some reason because of which the class was not conducted. Chalo ji, moving on to the next point. The next point says challenges of the Eurozone. No single fiscal policy of countries. They have different budgets, they have different taxes, they have different debts. On one side, you have a single monetary policy. You have a single monetary policy for collective for all the nations under the category of Eurozone, but you cannot have single fiscal policy because budget is different, taxes different, even tax rates are different. So that is not possible. The next challenge is one size monetary policy cannot fit all the nations. Then we have sovereign debt crisis, as it was witnessed in case of Greece. Unequal economic strength. Germany and Netherlands are stronger than the other nations. Political tension. Countries often disagree on some of the rules, which results in political tension among the nations itself. Done, guys? Fine? Clear? So these are the challenges related to the Eurozone. If there are benefits, there are challenges as well. तो असल में 3 जोन है जिसके बारे में आपको बेसिक आइडिया होना चाहिए, याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है. पहला है यूरोपियन यूनियन. तो यूरोपियन यूनियन एक I would say it's an organization, it's a group, political and economic union of the European countries. In Eurozone we have, in European Union we have Eurozone. These are the European Union countries which use a common currency as its official currency, as its legal tender, that is euro. And third we have is a new type of area. Have you heard about this particular area? Anyone? Have you heard about this particular area in the past? Anyone? I'm pretty sure आपने कभी नहीं पढ़ा होगा, लेकिन अगर आपने न्यूज़पेपर्स देखे हो पिछले कुछ दिनों में, तो this area was in news. पिछले कुछ दिनों में this area was in news. So if you can give me any answer, yes or no, have you heard this? Have you heard this term in the past or not? I'm still waiting for your reply in the comment section. If you haven't heard it, just give me N.
Schengen countries.
So we call them as Schengen countries. So these Schengen countries basically means that these are those countries which have passport free travel across the borders. Passport free travel across the border मतलब ये वो European countries हैं, ये वो neighboring countries हैं which are not included under, or they may or may not be the part of European Union, they may or may not be the part of Eurozone, but yes, they offer free movement of labor without border check. So in this group we have 29 countries. In Eurozone we have 20, which will increase to 21, and in case of European Union we have 27. If I talk about the members, examples, so examples will be Germany, France, Poland. They are the examples of European Union. Germany, France, Italy is the part of Eurozone as well. Germany, France is also the part of Schengen areas. So these are 3 types of areas which are defined with respect to Europe. So just have a brief reading on this. No one is going to ask you a question, but आपके information के लिए अगर आपको ये पता होगा, it would be good to understand the news in the near future. तो मैंने आपको मैप सा भी बना के दे दिया, तो एक बार आप देख लेना. Moving on to the next news. The next news is from RBI. New rules for government payment through RBI's e-Kuber system. New rules for government payments through RBI e-Kuber platform. I hope you all have heard about this e-Kuber platform. or I hope you all know that whenever we use this term government, RBI, in this particular discussion, we know this very well that government and RBI, they are pretty closely related, because it is not the case that RBI is owned by government, but also the government related financial services, financial transactions, financial fund management is also done by RBI. It is also done by RBI. So keeping the same in mind, this news has been introduced. And what is this news all about? Let me discuss this news with you. The first point I'll start my discussion is, from 16 July 2026, all these central bank payments above 75 crores must be made using RBI's e-Kuber system. That means agar government, central government, departments, organizations, if they are making a payment and the payment value is more than 75 crores, in that particular case, they need to use the e-Kuber platform in order to complete their transaction. The next point is, क्या ये सिस्टम पहले भी फॉलो होता था, और दिस इज समथिंग न्यू विच हैज बीन इंट्रोड्यूस रिसेंटली? ऐसा नहीं था सर. Earlier this was mandatory अगर payment value was more than 500 crores, but now this criteria has been lowered down. तो पहले अगर government department या government organizations, they are making a payment of 500 crores, above 500 crores, they have to do it through e-Kuber, but now this has been replaced, और इसे replace करके कितना कर दिया? 75 crore rupees. This is very important, which you need to remember. In some cases, in some specific cases, earlier threshold was 100 crores. उन्हीं specific cases के लिए जो threshold 100 crores था, अब उसे भी कम करके threshold कितना कर दिया? 50 crores. So basically RBI want the government, or the huge value government transactions should be done through e-Kuber platform itself. So why this change has been done, sir? In order to ensure faster, more transparent and accurate handling of larger payments of the government with e-Kuber. Why with e-Kuber? Because it will help in matching the funds, which will just take 24 hours, where earlier several days were done. Second is, department can track the payments in the real time, and it will reduce the delays and chances as well as the misuse related to the payments. Now, what is e-Kuber? e-Kuber is basically an online platform which is developed by none other than Reserve Bank of India. And if I talk about this particular platform, it handles the transaction between government and banks. It is used to settle the payments digitally and efficiently. And this e-Kuber platform, you can take it in this manner, that this is the platform which allows you to access directly or indirectly the RBI server. मान लो I am a government department, so this government department is having an account, or a state government is having an account with RBI. So in order to access that account through the server, in order to connect the flow of information, that is done through a digital platform, and that digital platform is basically termed as what? So it is termed as e-Kuber. So who benefits from this? Major government departments like infrastructure and urban development, defense and security, social welfare departments, which are making a transaction of more than 75 crores, they will be helpful, because now they will be making these large payments more smoothly, and that too in a more appropriate and I would say fast manner, with the help of involvement of e-Kuber. So what next? I would say the government may further lower the payment threshold to 50 crores from 75 crores. This move is basically to push digital and transparent governance. Aim is basically to come up with more efficient, efficiency, better fund tracking and less manual processing in the public finance. Is this point clear? So these were the two important news. Now I will be moving on to the third news. This third news is not from me. It is on the demand, because from past few days I was receiving n number of messages related to notifications of RBI, which are there on the RBI platform, which are there on the RBI website. और मुझे हर बार ये लिखा जा रहा था कि सर ये दो न्यूज़ आपने नहीं करवाई, सर ये दो न्यूज़ आपने नहीं करवाई, क्यों नहीं करवाई, what is the reason? So in order to answer this particular question, guys, I generally don't cover those news which I feel that RBI won't be asking those news, or which I think the data has been shared in the news and this data is not the final data. It has the potential that it will be revised in the near future again. But still ठीक है, आप लोगों ने पूछा है तो मैं आपको बताता हूँ. मैंने दो ऐसे मास्टर डायरेक्शन तो नहीं, these are the two basic notifications on the RBI website जो I am not covered. First is related to the sources of variation in Indian foreign exchange reserves, that what value and how much the India's forex reserves have varied in 2024-2025. मतलब इंडिया का जो फॉरेक्स रिजर्व था वो पहले के मुकाबले बड़ा है या कम. इंडिया का जो फॉरेक्स रिजर्व था वो पहले के मुकाबले बड़ा है या कम हुआ. एंड नाउ आई वुड से सर इट विल डिपेंड ऑन बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट स्टेटमेंट. इट विल डिपेंड ऑन बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट स्टेटमेंट. और ये जो बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट स्टेटमेंट है, अगर आप इसका इंफॉर्मेशन देखें आरबीआई की वेबसाइट पर, जो आरबीआई ने दो अनाउंसमेंट्स की हैं. पहला सोर्सेज ऑफ वेरिएशन, इन्होंने सोर्सेज बताए, व्हाट आर द सोर्सेज व्हिच आर लेड टू द वेरिएशन इन फॉरेक्स रिजर्व्स, इट्स फाइन. उसके बाद आरबीआई ने बताया है बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट ड्यूरिंग 2024-25. जब मैंने इस न्यूज को देखा तो इफ यू चेक दिस न्यूज वेरी क्लियरली, तो यहां पे लिखा है पी आर, यहां लिखा है पी, अगेन पी आर, देन पी. व्हाट डज इट मीन्स? इट मीन्स जो ये वर्ड है ना पी आर, इट स्टैंड्स फॉर अ टर्म, शायद आप देख पा रहे होंगे यानी, दैट इज पार्शियली रिजर्व, पार्शियली रिवाइज्ड, एंड द टर्म पी इज बेसिकली प्रीलिमिनरी डेटा. तो ये बिल्कुल इनिशियल डे का डेटा है, बहुत इनिशियल लेवल पे डेटा है. तो इस डेटा को याद करके डोंट वेस्ट योर टाइम, डोंट आई वुड से पुट बर्डन ऑन योर ब्रेन्स. ये डेटा आपके लिए इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. यहां से क्वेश्चन अगर आएगा तो फाइनल डेटा पे आएगा, और अभी तक फाइनल डेटा या एटलीस्ट एक फाइनल कॉल हम लेंगे जरूर बिफोर लर्निंग दिस पर्टिकुलर डेटा. बट फिर भी मैं आपको एक ओवरव्यू बताता हूं जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ योर डिमांड. इफ आई टॉक अबाउट योर डिमांड, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ डिमांड, इसमें से क्या क्या चीजें आपको ध्यान में रखनी है, मैंने वो चीजें आपके लिए ले आया हूं और उसको मैं मार्क कर देता हूं. सबसे पहली चीज, अगर हम बात करते हैं इंडिया के फॉरेक्स रिजर्व्स की, तो इंडिया फॉरेक्स रिजर्व, इंडिया का जो फॉरेक्स रिजर्व है, दैट हैज witnessed increase in value, and it has been increased by $21.9 billion. तो पिछले साल के मुकाबले, from in comparison to the previous year, India's forex reserves, they have increased by $21.9 billion. लास्ट फाइनेंशियल ईयर में ये इंक्रीज हुआ था $68 बिलियन का. इस बार अगर हम कंपोनेंट्स की बात करें, whenever we talk about the components, देखो फॉरेक्स रिजर्व जो है, that is the reserve with RBI, and in this particular reserve, RBI keep the reserves in the form of cash, maybe in the form of gold, as well as in the form of foreign currency assets. But on the other side, the transactions which are done under current account, the transactions which are done under capital account, which results in inward as well as outward flow of foreign currency, it impact the forex reserves. इस पॉइंट को समझने के लिए ध्यान दीजिएगा. If I say in case of India, incoming foreign currency is $100, ठीक, and in total outgoing foreign currency is $120. So it's quite obvious कि आपके पास $100 आए, उसमें से आपने $120 पे करना है. That means your nation is short of $20. अब अगर आपकी नेशन शॉर्ट है $20, so you will be either borrowing it. अगर आपने बोरो नहीं किया तो what you will do, so you will open up your locker, और अपने लॉकर में से ये $20 निकालकर अपनी जो पेमेंट है उसे पे करोगे, अपनी जो पेमेंट्स हैं उन्हें कंप्लीट करोगे. सो इन द सिमिलर मैनर, whenever we talk about forex reserves, अगर forex reserves increase होते हैं, that means the value in the locker has increased. अगर डिक्रीज हुए, that means value in the locker has decreased. तो इसका मतलब यहां पे 2 पॉइंट है। मैंने अभी अभी आपसे कहा कि जो इंडिया का फॉरेक्स रिजर्व है, जो इंडिया का फॉरेक्स रिजर्व है, इट इज इंक्रीज्ड बाय, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, इट वाज 21.9 बिलियन डॉलर्स, हो सकता है शायद, आई एम नॉट श्योर, एक बार चेक कर लेते हैं। हाँ सही है, चलो कोई बात नहीं, दैट मीन्स आई हैव गिवन द करेक्ट आंसर ऑन दिस। सो 21.9 बिलियन डॉलर्स आपका जो फॉरेक्स रिजर्व है वो इंक्रीज हुआ। लेकिन जब मैंने ये गैप देखा, द मोमेंट आई रेड दिस गैप कि इनकमिंग फॉरेन करेंसी इन ऑल द हेड्स, आउटगोइंग फॉरेन करेंसी इन ऑल द हेड्स, आई रियलाइज दैट इट इज नेगेटिव। आई रियलाइज इट इज नेगेटिव। अब पॉइंट है कि सर ये जो आपका इनकमिंग और आउटगोइंग है ये तो नेगेटिव है, फिर भी आपके लॉकर की वैल्यू बढ़ गई, ऐसा क्यों? सर लॉकर की वैल्यू बढ़ने के पीछे एक और रीजन है, दैट इज वैल्यूएशन। वैल्यूएशन का मतलब क्या? सर आपने गोल्ड रखा था, गोल्ड की वैल्यू बढ़ गई, यू केप्ट रिजर्व्स इन द फॉर्म ऑफ गोल्ड, गोल्ड की वैल्यू बढ़ गई। यू हैव केप्ट रिजर्व्स इन द फॉर्म ऑफ यूरो, यूरो की वैल्यू विद रिस्पेक्ट टू डॉलर्स बढ़ गई। सो एंड ऑफ द डे जो आपके $200 या $500 एज अ रिजर्व था, उसकी वैल्यू बढ़कर हो गई $600। तो वो वैल्यूएशन भी इसमें ऐड की जाती है। सो दिस ईयर देयर वाज अ वैल्यूएशन, उस वैल्यूएशन को हमने ऐड किया और जो हमारा ये डेफिसिट था, ये नेगेटिव था, इसे हमने सब्ट्रैक्ट किया, उसके बाद जो रिजल्टेंट मिला, दैट रिजल्टेंट इज $21.9 बिलियन। आई जस्ट शोकेस दिस सो दैट इट विल बी क्लियर टू यू। ध्यान से देखो, करंट अकाउंट बैलेंस इज नेगेटिव, तो करंट अकाउंट जो आपका है विच इंक्लूड द करंट ट्रांजेक्शंस, करंट ट्रांजेक्शन मींस ट्रांजेक्शंस रिलेटेड टू परचेज and sale, that is imports and exports. In current account we include the inward and outward remittances. In case of current account we include grants as well as foreign aids. In case of current account we include the transactions related to profit as well as salary. तो उसके बेसिस पे अगर हम करंट अकाउंट की हालत देखें तो दैट इज 23.4 नेगेटिव, $23.4 बिलियन नेगेटिव, विच इज डेफिसिट। कैपिटल अकाउंट की बात करें तो कैपिटल अकाउंट वाज नेट पॉजिटिव 18.3, जिसमें फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट का ये कंट्रीब्यूशन है विच इंक्लूड एफडीआई एज वेल एज पोर्टफोलियो इन्वेस्टमेंट। द टोटल फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट कंट्रीब्यूशन इज 4.5। इससे समझ क्या है? इससे समझ ये आ रहा है कि जो हमारा नेट एफडीआई है एज पर द लेटेस्ट रिकॉर्ड, जो पहले $0.4 बिलियन बताया गया था, नाउ इट इज प्रोजेक्टेड अराउंड $1 बिलियन। ठीक है ना? उसके बाद इफ आई टॉक अबाउट दी banking capital, if I talk about the short term credit, if I talk about the external assistance, जो आपने लोन लिया from the other nations, जो आपने लोन लिया from the other nation, that is also the part of your incoming foreign currency। तो वो सारी की सारी आपकी incoming foreign currency में जब हमने ऐड किया तो नेट जो हमारे पास अमाउंट आई वो क्या आई? अदर आइटम्स इन द कैपिटल अकाउंट। तो उन सबको जब हमने इंक्लूड किया तो उसके बाद जो हमारे पास वैल्यू है दैट कम्स आउट टू बी 18.3। तो अगर आप इन दोनों को सब्ट्रैक्ट करते हैं, सॉरी इन दोनों को अगर आप ऐड करते हैं 23.4 प्लस 18.3, बट ये क्या है? सो दिस इज विद नेगेटिव साइन, दिस इज विद नेगेटिव साइन। तो ये जो नेगेटिव साइन है, तो इसका मतलब जो आपका नेट रिजल्ट आएगा, द नेट रिजल्ट विच यू आर गोइंग टू रिसीव, दैट नेट रिजल्ट इज गोइंग टू बी, अगर मैं मोटा मोटा देखूं तो 18 और 2, तो ये लगभग 5 बिलियन का नेगेटिव है। और ये जो 5 बिलियन का नेगेटिव है, इसको मैंने माइनस किया किससे? वैल्यूएशन से। तो एंड ऑफ द डे जो फॉरेक्स रिजर्व इंक्रीज हुआ, दैट इज $21.9 बिलियन। एक्चुअली कम होना चाहिए था $5.6 बिलियन, बट इट हैज not decreased by 5.6, it has not decreased by $5 billion, rather it has increased by 21.9 because of the increase in value of the foreign assets। क्लियर हुई ये बात? समझ आया ये पॉइंट? क्लियर है? गिव मी यस सर। अगला जो पॉइंट है जो यहां पे आपको याद रखना है एज पर दिस पर्टिकुलर न्यूज, वो न्यूज ये है कि ये मैंने आपको ऑलरेडी समझा दिया, $5 बिलियन वाला पॉइंट मेंशन कर दिया, कहानी खत्म हो। नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट न्यूज। नेक्स्ट न्यूज में लिखा है इंडिया का जो करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट था दैट वाज $23.3 बिलियन, that is 0.6% of GDP during 2024-25, which was lower than। so ये initial data, ये अभी का डेटा है। obviously over the period of time this data may be revised depending upon the more and more insights can be done। अगर हम बात करें तो ये पॉइंट आपके लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है कि इंडिया का जो करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट है, व्हाट इज इट? सो इट इज $23.3 बिलियन, विच इज 0.6% ऑफ जीडीपी, विच इज अ गुड थिंग. उसके बाद अगर हम बात करें नेट इनफ्लोज अंडर एफडीआई, दिस पॉइंट इज इंपॉर्टेंट एज आई ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड, $1 बिलियन, बट इट इज लोअर देन द प्रीवियस ईयर. एफपीआई रिकॉर्डेड अ नेट इनफ्लो ऑफ 3.6, अगेन pretty low in comparison to the previous year, जो कि $44.1 billion था. And there was a depletion of $5 billion in the foreign exchange reserves due to balance of payment scenario. So actually में your foreign exchange reserves, it has decreased by $5 billion. There is a negative $5 billion उस पे आया, but due to the valuation of 26.9, it is termed as कि actually जो आपका फॉरेक्स रिजर्व है, इट हैज इंक्रीज बाय $21.9 बिलियन, बट वो एक्चुअल नहीं है. दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ द वैल्यूएशन. इफ यू एक्सक्लूड द वैल्यूएशन पार्ट, दैट मींस योर फॉरेक्स रिजर्व हैज डिप्लीटेड बाय व्हाट वैल्यू? सो इट हैज डिप्लीटेड बाय व्हाट वैल्यू? सो इट हैज डिप्लीटेड बाय $5 बिलियन. ठीक है. इस पूरे के पूरे टेबल पे आई वुड नॉट रिकमेंड यू टू लर्न एनीथिंग, दैट इज नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट. इफ यू वांट टू लर्न, यू कैन learn this data. This is important. If you want to learn, you can, ये तो पढ़ा ही दिया, सेम ही है, लर्न कर लो क्योंकि पहले पढ़ा दिया. ये पढ़ोगे तो एक ही बात है. इसमें भी आपको पूरे के पूरे डेटा को लर्न नहीं करना. जस्ट यू शुड नो द वैल्यूएशन, यू शुड नो द टोटल सिनेरियोज, यू शुड नो द करंट अकाउंट की क्या हालत है और कैपिटल अकाउंट की. ये जो है जस्ट रीड देम, बट डोंट ट्राई टू मेमोराइज दिस कंटेंट, क्योंकि ये ना तो याद होगा और ना ही याद करने का फायदा है. ठीक है जी, क्लियर होगी कहानी, समझ आ गया. सो दैट इज ऑल फ्रॉम माय साइड इन दिस पर्टिकुलर सेशन. इफ यू हैव एंजॉयड द डिस्कशन, डू गिव मी yes sir in the comment section, and if you have any doubt related to the same, you can ask me right now, and even you find any doubt while revising the content, you can ask in the comment sections later on as well. So that is all guys, we'll catch you soon. But before I conclude, if you have enjoyed the discussion, give me yes sir. If you have any doubt, you may ask please. And if you haven't hit the like button, do hit the like button before leaving. Do hit the like button before leaving. Done? Shall we conclude? Okay, thank you so much. Catch you soon. Bye bye. Take care. Good luck. God bless you.